Everybody, it's Linda. Thanks for stopping by today. I wanted to talk to you today about accountability. It made me think back, that word popped up in my head because you hear a lot about people talking about having accountability partners, someone who will listen, that you trust, that you talk to, who will listen to you, and you will tell them the reflections of things that you've been doing. And they will give you their opinion of what they hear and how maybe you could do things better to be more responsible for yourself. Those are all good in theory. They are. And they're good to have. It's good to have an accountability partner. But here's what I wanted to talk to you about. In order to be good and effective with an accountability partner, someone that you trust again, don't you think you need to be accountable for yourself first? What I want to talk about is accountability reflection. Reflecting back on yourself about what you've just done. Let me tell you a little story. This is a true story. All the years I was in the emergency room, you can't just blow through that, go in, punch in for a job, and then punch out and go home. You have a responsibility. You have people's lives. You have your license. You have procedures that you have to go through, and so on. And you get the idea what I'm talking about. But every night, after I gave report to the next shift coming on, I would take time to reflect on the entire shift. All right, many say, why would you do that? I mean, you've already done it. The work's done. Just get out of there and go home. Well, you have to be accountable, because if something wasn't done right, you need to, right then and there, while it's fresh in your head, you need to go back and analyze it and make sure it was done right. So I would spend 5 minutes kind of analyzing and reflecting on what happened that night, making sure in my head everything was signed, everything was done as it was supposed to, procedures were followed, and yada, yada, yada. I did that for the entire career I had. And then I would go out and decompress. But decompressing is different than accountability reflection. So when you're reflecting on yourself, here's what you should do. Take 5 minutes before you go to bed, undisturbed, no television on, and just sit by yourself for a moment and think about what happened during the day. It could be happy thoughts. It could be not so happy thoughts. It could be how you acted with your friends, how you acted with your coworkers, what happened between your spouse and your kids, were there arguments? It's being accountable for, when you're reflecting, for what happened throughout that day. Because that is the time to correct things. Not after there's been a long 6-month drag-out fight or somebody's got hurt feelings that you don't even know about. Jim Rohn talks about this a lot in some of his writings, and I am supportive of that, and I think everyone should do that, because it's so important to reflect on your accountability, your own accountability. How would you be a good accountability partner with someone if you didn't even reflect on yourself first? So 5 minutes before you go to bed at night, here's your challenge. Sit by yourself. Reflect back the good and the bad. It's important to get the bad stuff in there too. And recognize what you've just thought about. If it was nasty, if you were nasty to someone, you need to own up to that. That's being accountable. That's being responsible. And you need to think about that, and you need to correct it. Not at 11 o'clock at night, but I'm saying you need to correct yourself. And you need to be accountable for that change. So think about those things when you're going through your days and reflect on it at night. Don't just hone in on the good stuff. You got to be honest and reflect on the bad stuff too, because we're not all perfect. Don't we wish we were? But we're not. So be accountable. Do some self-accountability. And then when you do develop a point in, let's say, your business, and you want to have an accountability partner, it's going to be much more effective. Much more effective. And you'll get a lot more growth out of it. So that's my challenge for you today. I want you to do that. Start doing that every night. You don't have to make it a long, lengthy thing. Just be accountable for the good and the bad that happen throughout the day while you're reflecting. And make some changes in yourself. Okay? All right, everybody, that's my thought for today, and I will see you all tomorrow. Have a fabulous day. Bye-bye.